Chapter 1 3/4. The storm stops gathering and starts storming. Claudia, sorry again. I have decided not to even try to interview Reese about anything else until I can at least get to chapter 2, because so far he is totally ruining my oral history. Back to the cafeteria. I was sitting with Sophie Cole, who is awesome and has been my one and only best friend since my original best friend, Meredith Timms. She turned into a total Fimbot, and I had to take a vacation from not only being her best friend, but from even being her friend at all, which is very sad and tragic, but it is a whole other story. Sophie and I were at the middle table by the window. I was telling her what happened in the latest episode of Thorns of Death, because Sophie's parents think she's too young to watch it, and they actually still have parental controls on their DVR, which is insane, but whatever. The Fimbots were in their usual spot at the next table over, talking about shoes or stabbing each other in the back, or whatever it is they do. Sophie and I call them Fimbots, because they all dress and act exactly the same way and have no idea how to think for themselves. And once, when we were telling Sophie's mom about them, her dad overheard and said they sounded like Fimbots, which are supposedly these girl robots from some movie. I can't even remember the name of it. Anyway, Fimbots is kind of perfect for them. Athena Cohen is their leader, and she is a total nightmare. So the Fimbots were on one side of us, and on the other side were Reese and all his stupid soccer friends, including Jans Kuipers, who is from the Netherlands, and he just started going to Culver the week before. It's a little sad that Jens immediately started hanging out with Reese and the other soccer idiots, because Jens does not seem like a soccer idiot at all. For one thing, he doesn't even wear FC Barcelona jerseys and warm-up pants all the time. He actually wears normal clothes too. For example, on the first day of school, he wore these really cool dark green pants with a button-down shirt and a brown vest that looked like it might be suede or something, and the brown leather shoes that kind of matched the vest, but not quite, which was even better because if they'd matched perfectly, it would have looked dorky. Also, Yin has high cheekbones and a very nice smile, which I know because he smiled at me on the first day when we were in line for trays at lunch, and he let me go ahead of him, which also shows that he has excellent manners, which is totally not true of all the other soccer idiots. And because Jens is from the Netherlands, which means he is officially Dutch, he has this really cool accent. But even though Jens is not like the other soccer idiots at all, I guess he started hanging out with them anyway because he is awesome at soccer. I wouldn't know, but that's what Reese says. And it makes sense because Jens looks like he is very athletic. So, Sophie and I were at the middle of the table, in between the Fimbots and the soccer idiots. There were some other kids at the far end of the table, like Kalisha and Charlotte and Max, but they are not important to the war. Except that one of them may have been the person who actually farted. Sophie and I smelled the fart at almost exactly the same time. Her face scrunched up, and she put her hand to her nose, and I did the same thing, and we both went, ew, but not too loudly because Sophie and I are mature enough to know that when somebody beefs, the polite thing to do is to not mention it and just try to avoid breathing for a while until it goes away. Unfortunately, nobody else in the 6th grade is mature enough to know this, and it was a very bad fart, so everybody smelled it. Right away, Athena Cohen jumped up from her seat like a total drama queen and yelled, "Oh, that is disgusting! Who did that?" The soccer idiots all started jumping up and making faces, and then Reese pointed at me and yelled, "It was you!" So I said in a very calm and mature voice, considering the situation, "No, it wasn't." But Reese wouldn't stop. He had one hand over his nose and he was pointing at me with the other hand. And then he yelled it in a really loud and obnoxious voice. Just admit it, Princess Fart-a-Lot. And this is how totally immature the rest of the 6th grade is. Everybody laughed. The soccer idiots, the fembots, even Charlotte and Max at the far end of the table. It didn't matter at all that I was totally innocent or that Princess Farts-a-Lot is not even funny. The whole world, or at least the whole 6th grade, was laughing at me for something I didn't even do. All because of Reese. This, in case you couldn't tell, was the beginning of the war. It was exactly like the sneak attack on Pearl Harbor that got America into World War II. Well, not exactly, because there were no bombs, or ships, or planes, or actual death involved. But even so, it was horrible and cruel and totally unfair. And because I was so shocked and hurt, all I could do was say, as if, grow up, Reese. Or something like that. I can't remember exactly because it was so stressful that my memory was kind of fuzzy. I think this is what historians mean when they talk about the fog of war. What I do remember is that I had to grab my backpack and pretend to just casually walk away when really I was trying to get to the girls' bathroom ASAP so I wouldn't cry in front of everyone. This is how cruel and horrible it was. It actually made me cry. And because she is a true friend, Sophie went into the bathroom with me. Sophie Coe, best friend of innocent victim. You were really upset because Yin was right there when Reese said it. And, Claudia, not because of Yin's, because of everybody. Everybody laughed at me. Sophie, well, eventually you were worried about everybody, but at first you were all, what if Yin's thinks I... Why are you making that hand gesture? What does that mean? Oh, okay, sorry. So, yeah, it wasn't about Yin's at all. It was like, Claudia, it was everybody. Sophie, totally. Like, I remember you were crying. Oh, and wait, can I say that? That you were crying? Claudia, yes. Sophie, good. So yeah, you were crying and you were like worried that it was going to stick and everybody was always going to call you Princess Farts-a-Lot for like the rest of your life. Claudia, which totally could have happened. Remember that thing with Hunter in 4th grade? Sophie, oh yeah, people still call him Booger Hunter sometimes. So yeah, I could see how you'd be worried about that. Claudia, and it did happen. James Manitoliani called me Princess Farts-a-Lot until practically Halloween. Sophie, yeah, but James is an idiot. Even the boys don't like him. Claudia, and remember Athena and Clarissa at lunch when they shortened Princess Farts-a-Lot into just the initials PFAL and then tried to get everybody to call me that? Sophie, ugh, yeah, they're the worst. But they only call you PFAL for like a day. Claudia, it was longer than that. It was practically the whole week. And that first day was awful. I literally thought it was going to scar me for life. Sophie, I know. I'm so sorry. I remember in the bathroom you were really upset. Like we were almost late to homeroom because it took you so long to stop crying. Claudia, you are such a good friend. Like I would still be in that bathroom crying if it weren't for you. Do you remember what you said to get me to stop? Sophie, yeah, I said, don't worry, we are going to take serious revenge on your stupid brother. That really helped. Like, the second you started thinking about getting revenge on Reese, you stopped crying. And then you started to get kind of psyched about it.